Oh, I'm Claudia Smith. I was just appointed as liaison officer for the project that will be taking place here at the Botanical Garden. We were in a meeting and we have spoken with the relevant stakeholders, and it's a great project so far. However, my belief is that it can work and we want it to work, and I'm willing to work with persons in the community who are willing to cooperate with us and to make this project successful on our behalf and on the behalf of the parish, Jamaica on a whole, so that tourism can be publicized here.
True.
Yes, we have a lot of things here in Bath that are worthy of exposing, and we would like the exposure, and people can come here so that we can be exposed.
So what advice do you have to give to the member of the community as it relates to this Bath Botanical Garden that is under construction? Well, construction will be starting in this month. What can you say to the persons in Bath community about this? What advice would you give them?
My advice is to just work with us and be on their best behavior.
That's right.
Yes.
And I saw you standing right beside the member of parliament. So I think she has something to say pertaining to this.
Yes, my member of parliament.
Well, I'm member of parliament for Eastern St. Thomas, Rosemary Shaw. I am very excited about this project, and it's a long time in coming. I mean, from this project was in the embryonic stage. I was a part of it along with former member of parliament, Dr. Fenton Ferguson. And I'm very pleased to see that it has come to fruition. My advice to the community is that they are going to work together to see to the success of this Bath Botanical Garden. It's one of the oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere. The first breadfruit tree was planted over there, and this garden has a lot of potential. You realize that there was a meeting here this afternoon where they gave an overview of the project and all the things that are going to be done. And my fervent wish is to incorporate and coordinate with the Bath Hotel to make sure that this garden is promoted as a tourism site, as a recreational and also educational, because you have some indigenous plants in here and all of that. So I am very happy, and I am sure that I speak on behalf of the community of Bath and the wider Eastern St. Thomas.
Yes. Thank you very much, Michelle.
I'm Daniel Fulcott, the representative of Bath community. So I really always here for years representing Bath community in whatever activities and project. Now I am at the Bath Botanical Garden for this project of the rebuilding of the Bath Botanical Garden. It's a $43 million project, and I hope this project could run on a smooth, level play field.
So, as it relates to the development or rehabilitation of the Bath Botanical Garden, what do you think this garden can bring to St. Thomas in terms of tourism?
I think this project is a very good project. It has been a while now. We are trying, we are asking for this development, and now it is ready to start. I think it would be a very good project for the development of the tourism in the community, because there will be gazebo, there will be modern upliftment, the fencing and all these things. So this would encourage people to come visit here, and I think it's a very good project.
So we don't have no main area like they don't have feature one feature like, cause I get to understand that animal are come inside and all them things.
Okay, now they will do overall fencing, which they did announce in the project a while ago.
Yeah.
So that is good, because they would
Keep out the animal.
yeah, they would do a overall fencing for the botanical garden, so that would take in care of.
And these tree, when we see this tree, have a whole heap of years spent underneath them and them 3 years.
Well,
Yeah.
this is a historical garden,
Yeah.
and this is the oldest garden, botanical garden in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow.
So these trees are
Yeah.
very, very old.
Yeah.
So the first breadfruit tree
Yeah,
was planted here.
really.
It come here by Captain Bligh. So that is the first breadfruit tree in the Caribbean. So you can imagine how old this garden is.
So the Bard Fountain is close to the Botanical Garden.
Yes, sir.
Right? So you think
Right to the yellow.
this Botanical Garden will have more people visiting the Bard Fountain and visiting here?
All right, the botanical garden and Bad Fountain, I think it is a collaboration. And people visiting Bad Fountain, a lot of time they visit Bad Fountain and they stop by the garden to have their little picnic, to sit and eat and all of those things. So I can assure you that it would be benefit for both the Bad Fountain and the Botanical Garden for visitors.
So, alright, before you go, what advice would you give to the residents of Bath as it relates to this botanical garden?
Well, the advice that I would like to give to our community is to protect our legacy.
Exactly.
So I'm asking community members to protect our legacy.
Show some interest.
The Bath Fountain and the Bath Botanical Garden is really our rich heritage, and we need to protect it.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Okay, you're welcome.
Bless up, sir.
I'm from the Bath Botanical Garden. I'm one of the landscaper here. I'm one of the person who take care of the lawn and stuff like that. Right now, the garden is not open to the public as yet because we are doing a renovation. So after the next 6 months, we are inviting you all to come out and take a look, free to come and enjoy the scenery. You can bring your family and have a great day.
Anything, any history about this garden what people know, what don't know, what you'd like to tell people?
Well, one thing I like about this garden is that it was one of the first place in Jamaica that plant, the first place in Jamaica that we get the Ethiopia apple and a breadfruit tree was planted. This garden, Bath Botanical Garden.
Okay.
It seems as if you don't want to give them the history until it is
It's
reopened.
So after it is reopened,
then you
can come and the sign is out there, so you can come and read for yourself. There's a lot about Bath Botanical Garden. It's a great historical place. It was once a courthouse was here, and the prison was here also. So yeah.
You can't tell me what time that courthouse.
I don't remember the exact.
I just saw it on the paper, I believe, in 1947.
Yes, something like
I saw it.
Yeah, man.
I just saw it on the paper. Anyway, thank you very much, right?
Yeah, man.
Bless up yourself, my boss.
Sure. Covered. Of course, we encourage wetting of the site, preferably at the interval or as often as needed, and of course, wear the appropriate personal protective equipment. We want to ensure that you have your dust mask and of course a goggle that protects your eyes. Another potential impact as a result of the implementation of this project is change having machine that takes the service outside. We release a lot of CO2 emission, and that is what, but that is one of the drivers of climate change. Another significant potential impact is climate management. implementing a project, you can accept that there is some level of salaries, and if you need the money for various reasons, right? Some of the reasons of salaries is flooding, because if the waste gets into the drain, block the drain, then the water has nowhere to go. The water does not know where to go. You can expect that some level of flooding will occur, right? Vermin infestation, flies, water, and disease, unpleasant odor can come from bills on site, and of course, rules waste on site were necessary, especially this experience with the new waste and the covering of waste during transportation. Alright, so during the implementation of this project, we expect that we will follow the project that all the installed on site or erected on site to give persons direction to who want to navigate the some general environmental health and safety risk is listed right here, so we encourage that firstly people along the site. Hoarding, we encourage that hoarding is necessary to prevent another so hoarding is that simple structure that they
Manners bossy.
Anyway, yeah, introduce you to
Yeah,
a native from Bath.
Yeah.
Channel. Tell them channel you know, man.
Yeah, life and field that man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man, we deal with plants and just rock out stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. So I never work with the botanical garden right
yeah, man, I'm
now.
a gardener right here, man.
Yeah, man.
So you're the one that makes your place look clean and look
One
nice.
of the
One of the yeah.
Part of the team, you know.
Part, yes.
Yeah, man.
I know a teamwork make the dream work.
Same sir, same sir.
Yes, no worries.
I know say one Clarity Boss this, you know, I represent same way for Clarity Flex Jamaica TV and Clarity Boss Lifestyle. I'm out here with my brethren.
Yard life and
Yeah,
field.
man. I'm original Batman, you know. But to my place too, no.
Okay.
You understand me? I said, yeah, man. So we
I don't run from Bath.
No, man. I never run like that. Because we said, yeah, we have to go chill to my place here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And some brethren there, so. See them? Mr. Samuda. Yeah, man.
Yes, Father Samuda. Bless up yourself, sir.
I love you, Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man, see what I'm next work and man. Family God, man. I am my man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, party. Bless up yourself, man. Yeah, man.
Hey.
No, man, no problem, man. No problem, man.
They are going to shampoo the place, alright? Bless up yourself, yes, sir?
Yeah, man, bless you.
Cool. So as you can see this, you don't call it the Bath Park, but this park is totally different from the park we see like Rudolph Elder Park in Morant Bay. Yeah, this is a totally different park. Manners and respect, sir. So to what you see taking place, what you have to say, and it take you have to give you on it, sir. As you can see them out for you.
Yes, well,
upgrade the place and
I like how them have put all the place for a long time now it go on, but I know it just ready to go on. So I like how them have do it.
Cause not never done before the time.
Yeah, not never done the time. I'm the caretaker for it.
Yeah, we are the caretaker.
Yeah.
So you like what you see what
Yeah,
take
man,
place.
yeah, man. Dog and goat are kill you.
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah. And them not supposed to in this place. No, they're not supposed to in here. Yeah.
Because you can't see flowers then.
Yeah.
I go back then down. If you go out on the front page, you see spot they have them. Dig it if you walk through the land, you see spot the cow then put champagne. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so a good movement.
So finally them take it up in hand now and make them know say yo. You know? Fooling is over.
Yeah. If you look on the garden now, a beautiful garden.
Yeah man, a beautiful garden man.
Yeah, man.
What them call the garden again?
Botanical garden.
Botanical garden.
Yeah, man.
And this park is totally different from Rudolph Park in Marant Bay, you know. This is more like a heritage.
Yeah, this is a heritage park.
Heritage. Yeah, this is a more heritage like,
this
yeah.
Is a heritage park, like the tree them.
Yeah.
The tree them
Can you see the tree them and so, yeah. Bless up yourself in a
Yes,
bother.
man, enough respect.
Manners and respect, sir. So as you see, we are walk around my viewers to show you people maybe not found it down. See, I remember this is after Melissa storm. We are sure this, so you know. Yeah, as I say, this is after Melissa storm. You know that disaster that hit Jamaica. So most of these rumble that you're looking at, you know, caused by this storm. As I see them are clean them up little by little to, you know, get back to the shape what it used to was. As you know, the gentleman talk said a lot of animals been taking over the place. So what them are do now, them are upgrade the place by make sure there's no entrance for no animal to enter inside here. Cause this is a park, you know, yeah, but it's not real, it's a garden. So if you notice, there's a lots of tree, whole heap of different type of tree inside here. So this is a more like heritage more than Rudolph Elder Park in Marant Bay. You understand me and some viewers? Yeah, so some tree where there are some whole heap of years, lots of years. You understand? Right now, I have to drop off of my head, you know, I have to use me and I hold it up the way that tree is straight over my head. Yeah, you understand me and say? Some of these trees I don't know the name of them. Honestly. So, as the gentleman say, animal are coming in, animal are destroy, and them something there. So, we are going to make you hear the speech. So, it's a long speech. And we know catch everything because, you know, sometimes when I come at them function, you know, it's a whole day function, and for you to catch everything, not go easy. You have to have maybe a couple terabytes, you understand? Have space. And lots of time we ask for some gadget, some video gadget, and we don't get any, so we have to just use the one what we have so far. You understand me, my viewers? Yeah, so we are going to make you hear the speech. And the speech now, we are going to listen the plans that them have for this place and what them are going to do to this place. Okay? So bless up each and every one. So as what me I don't know, but just walk around in the garden so you people can see for the people who never visit the garden before. I tell you some tree, there are some serious tree. Yes, some serious tree, mommy, I tell you. And you see them tree, if you look on them, you know, a whole heap of years them have under them belt. Lots of years. So as I say, I walk around for the people who really ever come to this garden around about here. And it's right beside the police station, Bad Police Station. So we just say walk, make you see. So that means to say, remember I say we telling already, I am your eye away from home. So we got to let you people see things like you know a year. You know so I'm how far on there from St. Thomas. Watching my video is like you know a year. I try my best to do that, to go into details to make you people see. So we say we are walk, make you people see as much as me can make you see. I'm gonna make you see. As you see, this place is a century place, you know. Look, even the building pan next door, which is that small, that look like it's a church. Look on it, you know. Look, you saw it, Bill. Yeah, stone build that. That's look like a church. It's cheap. It look like a church. So that a stone build it. So you know that building got a whole heap of age, and like built also. So you know, in the garden you have some little. You know, some little something like all little something, yeah? You know? Yeah. It's a nice little thing, and remember now, them are go upgrade. So where them upgrade is not like them are go put them the one side. Them still are go have them the same way, but you know, put them in our modern style. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's a garden where you can hold up a tree and hold up a thing. Cool, you know. It's like the sunlight not really come down force on you if you're in the garden. You have a lot of cool spot where you can come and cool out with maybe friends and family and you know what I talk about. Lots of stone building. Look, huh? Yeah, lots of stone building, my viewers. So these building, you know, these building built from way back in the century. Way back in the century. You know? So as I say, walk with me now. As I walk and show you people the garden, the Bath Botanical Garden. And what them are going to do, them are going to upgrade it, them are going to remodel it, them are going to put it in a more unique style. Because as the gentleman say, animal give them problem. Animal just walk through the place, cow just walk through, trample the place, mess up the place, filth up the place, goat just walk, eat down the thing. So them now bother with that style, them are take it up in hand now. So them are going to fence it and do proper fencing. So that the animal them and the community join hands in and help to make sure this place are carry out safe and carry out in a good order. You understand? The people with the animal, please take off on animal, take up on animal in hand. And this animal thing I get out of hand and come right across Jamaica and I'll even on the road. The animal end up on the road and it cause accident and take people's life and all these things. You understand? So the animal thing, the man who own the land animal owner them, nah go on good. Them nah go on good. Yeah, them not going on good. So what them say they got enough of the animal them now and enough of the place. I go walk up on the outside to make you see outside. So I'm safe when I pass a bath. I don't know exactly where it is. So just bear with me as I walk and show you some inside. All these buildings are century building, because it's a brick. One stone, a brick. Yeah. Continue, come on to see as much as you can see now my viewers. Yeah, so continue to do some more walk, you know. And after this walking then we are go make you hear the speech. Look on the size of that tree. You look on the size of this tree. Look on the size of this tree, my viewers. If this tree will fall, there's no power saw. Which power saw? It have to be the giant saw. It have to be the giant saw to drop this tree. You understand? So this place have a whole heap of history, serious history. Where them, you know, can't just let go like that, so that's why they might take it up in hand. As I say, after we do that walk here now, we are going to play the video. We're going to play the station just over there. That's the station building over there. That's it. remember, this is the same community that Popcorn live in, you know. Yeah? Artist Popcorn, this is the same community. Blessed assurance. So as I said, if you're coming to Bath and you want to find this garden now, as soon as you pass the police station, as soon as I find the police station, and the same one near the police station is that time you find. So if you come in from that way, as soon as I come, that's the garden over there. So now we're gonna bring you to the video. I'm gonna continue watch the video. So all you do, my viewers and subscribers, just grab a snacks, relax, and take note. And after this speech, then you speak your mind down in the comment section, okay? Because remember, you know, you have to just relax yourself. Because this is a speech, is kind of long speech, you know. And we couldn't catch everything. We have to just try to catch the best that we can. You know, because you know when them function a whole day or something, you have to have a whole heap of space, you can't catch everything. So as I say, let's go into the video. I say grab a snacks, relax, enjoy the video. Let's go.
Specialist at the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JC. And today we are here to sensitize you, the stakeholders, the community members of Bath, all interested persons, regarding the Bath Botanical Gardens Rehabilitation Project. We're here to host the project information meeting because we have just signed the contract. We are ready to start this project to rehabilitate the Bath Botanical Gardens. I'd like to recognize in the audience the Member of Parliament for St. Thomas Eastern, Miss Yvonne Rose Shaw. Welcome, MP. I'd also like to recognize the CEO of the St. Thomas Municipal Corporation, Mr. Kevin McIndoe. I'd also like to recognize Mr. Michael Williams, the Superintendent of the Public Gardens Division in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, as well as all the other members of the Ministry of Agriculture team who are here today. They are the direct beneficiaries of this project. I'd also like to recognize the Tourism Product Development Company, who is also an instrumental stakeholder and partner in this project. They worked with the Ministry of Agriculture team to prepare the grant application for the rehabilitation of the Bath Botanical Gardens, which was submitted through the Ministry of Tourism to JCIF for implementation. I'd also like to recognize Ms. Nordia Hamilton, who has been a part of this project from the get-go. I don't see Mr. Damian Shirley from TPDCO, but yes, Mr. Shirley, as well as Mrs. Kerry-Ann Lowe Mullings, the Director of Product Development and Community Tourism at TPDCO. I'd also like to acknowledge Inspector Donald Burke from the Bath Police Division. Thank you for coming here, as well as the other officers who are here with you. all guests, the team from JSIF, my colleagues, thank you for coming out here today to help to sensitize the community about this project. So, let me get into the purpose of this meeting. So we are here to begin the implementation of the Bath Botanical Gardens Rehabilitation Project, to outline the details of the project, discuss the responsibilities of stakeholders involved in implementation, and agree on how we will communicate and collaborate throughout the implementation of this project. A quick background about JSIF. The Jamaica Social Investment Fund was established in 1996 as a project implementation agency on behalf of the government of Jamaica. The JSIF is dedicated to mobilizing and channeling resources to community-based socio-economic projects to improve the quality of life of Jamaicans. So we are implementing this project through the READY2 project, and READY2 stands for the Second Rural Economic Development Initiative. It is being administered through JSIF, and it is financed through a loan agreement between the government of Jamaica and the World Bank. And the entire value of the project, which began in 2020, in the heights of COVID, is US $40 million. It is currently being issued as grants to the local agriculture and tourism sectors with two categories of beneficiaries. One, agriculture and community tourism enterprises, that is component 1, and component 2, public institutions like Bath. So the objective of READY is to enhance access to markets and to climate resilient approaches for targeted beneficiaries. I mentioned that this project falls under component 2, as Bath is a public institution. So to continue with READY, the READY2 project enhances agriculture and tourism linkages, increases efficiency through the introduction of climate smart technology, improves productivity of local enterprises, invests in public infrastructure like Bath Botanical Gardens, builds beneficiaries' business management skills, and facilitates practices to safeguard the most vulnerable: women, youth, elderly, persons with disabilities. I mentioned earlier that Bath falls under component 2, and that covers climate resilient agriculture and community tourism investments for rural enterprises. So this component promotes the development of agriculture and community tourism rural enterprises to operate competitively in selected value chains. The Bath sub-project is designed to enhance the gardens by promoting sustainable heritage tourism experiences through expanded tours, cultural and leisure events, and the enhancement of the plant nursery. I mentioned earlier the key partners. So the key partners here are JSIF, the Ministry of Tourism, the TPDCO, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Mining. The key drivers of the project are at JSIF, our project manager, Mrs. Dainty and Barry Smith, myself, the tourism specialist, our project engineer, Mr. Ajane Bins, our senior social officer, Mrs. Tashika Dawson, who could not be here today, she has another engagement, our environmental officer, Adam Burton, our monitoring and evaluation specialist is not mentioned there, however, she's Felice Brown, she's with us today, and her role is critical in terms of ensuring that we understand that the project meets its objectives in terms of the number of beneficiaries and the stated outcomes, and she will speak more on this during the presentation. The other key driver of the project is the contractor, which is here today, that is SM Quality Construction Limited, as well as the consultant supervisor, SIAC Solutions Company Limited. They were responsible for designing the project, and they will also supervise the project, supervising the contractor, which is SM Quality Construction Limited. As for the scope of works of the project, we will be renovating the office building you see at the front there, including the installation of an awning to protect against rainfall, the construction and renovation of a gazebo. One over that side will be renovated and another that was damaged and destroyed at the front will be replaced. We will renovate bathrooms to include the addition of male and female stalls with disability access and dedicated changing stations for babies. We will construct a shade house to grow 300 seedlings per quarter, repair fencing to include Georgian style wrought iron perimeter fencing as well as chain link fencing. We will do drip irrigation through a sprinkler system for distribution over the property. And we will rehabilitate the walkway using asphaltic concrete. And to ensure that this investment is sustained, we will invest in the equipment that will be needed to maintain the property, including a ladder, lawnmower, telepruner, and we'll also ensure that the security of the site is covered as well through the provision of CCTV cameras. All right, so I'm going to, quickly, so this is our layout. This is the layout of the gardens. And I want to touch on the beneficiaries. So the project will directly benefit 2,000 persons. And those persons come from the Bath community, the Ministry of Agriculture team, the staff that works here, the TPDCO team involved. It involves tour guides who take visitors to the gardens, to the community. It involves other business owners that are connected through the value chain, as well as the wider parish of St. Thomas will indirectly benefit. So I wanted to touch quickly on the JSIF project cycle, not to complicate things. We'll see appraisal. So this is where we receive an application and the JSIF team will appraise the project. We will do site visit assessments to ascertain the viability of the project to meet with the community. The second stage is formulation and design, where we design the project itself and we get various approvals within JSIF to ensure that this project is value for money, it will benefit the community, it makes fiscal sense, it makes financial sense. The third layer you see there is contracting, is when we go out to procure a contractor to do the works, to do the infrastructure works. And now where we're at right now is supervision, because we have now gotten a contractor, we are ready to implement and we will supervise the implementation of the project. And following supervision, after 5 months, because the duration of the project will be 5 months, we will reach practical completion. However, after practical completion, we will have a 6-month period of defects liability. And during that period, the beneficiaries can note all of the enhancements that have been done. If there are any defects in the work, they can report it and it will be addressed by the contractor during that 6-month period. After that 6-month period, the beneficiary cannot report any defects. So you have 6 months after practical completion. And once that 6-month period has ended, then we will reach final completion, where we can hand over the project to the beneficiary and the community. And we will all be excited to see the end product of these enhancements. So quickly, some important dates. We signed the contract on January 13. We had a kickoff meeting between JSIF, the consultants, and the contractor as required. And then we officially commenced the project on January 27 per our contract with the contractor. We did a site handover meeting last week Friday, January 30 here, and we are now doing the project information meeting today. The project duration, as I mentioned before, is 5 months. So practical completion should be achieved around June 27, 2026, after which we will have the 6-month defects liability period. These are the lines of communication, very important. So JSIF, as the implementers of the Ready to project, as well as the sub-project rehabilitating the Bath Botanical Gardens, are the main stakeholder here, the key organization. The contractor, SM Quality, can communicate directly with JSIF, and they also communicate directly with the supervisors, SIA Solutions Limited. So the contractor and the consultants communicate directly to each other. The project beneficiary, which is the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Public Gardens Division, Bath Botanical Gardens, they communicate directly with the consultants, SIA Solutions Company Limited, as well as JSIF. So I will end my part of the presentation here, and then our project engineer will continue. But JSIF's responsibilities here is to provide funding for the project through, as I mentioned before, this overall Ready To project is funded through a loan agreement between the GOJ and the World Bank. JSIF is also responsible for ensuring that standards are maintained during project implementation, and to conduct regular site visits and meetings with the contractor and the consultant involved. All right, so Mr. Ajane Vince will come to speak about the beneficiaries' responsibilities.
Good morning, everybody. So it should be in the beneficiaries' best interest to follow the progress of project implementation, meaning how things are progressing on site as the contractors carry out their aspects of the works. They should participate or they are welcome to participate in site meetings and walkthroughs, inspections, etc., etc. They'll be integral in signing off on a completed project that's following the 6 months or the implementation period. And they should, as alluded to by my colleague, report any defects during that period as well. The flip side of that same coin, however, the beneficiaries, they should not demand any portion of money from the contractor. They shouldn't demand any employment opportunities from the contractor. They shouldn't remove from the project site any equipment, furniture, appliances, or goods purchased with the money supplied by JSIF. And last but not least, they should not issue or give any instructions to contractors, as we have lines of communication, as was mentioned by Larissa earlier. Consultants, unfortunately, they're not here. They couldn't make it. Them being SIAC Solutions Limited, their responsibility during this phase of the project is to ensure that all the construction works meet specifications and the drawings are followed. They should monitor the quality of the workmanship and materials being used, ensure that the contractor is compliant with all health and safety and environmental guidelines, as well as to review the progress of the works and make recommendations of payments, and to act as a liaison or the middle person between the contractors, the beneficiaries, and ourselves here at JSIF. So site meetings will be held monthly, and those expected to attend are the contractors or representatives from the contractor, consultants, representatives from JSIF, and also reps from the Ministry's Public Gardens Division and TVEco. So at the end of this project, we're expected to, or the park is expected to have increased earnings through higher visitor numbers, as well as the sale of plants and seedlings from the plant nursery. Where sustainability is concerned, environmental sustainability, through the management of the wastewater, the treatment and irrigation, and the improvement or beautification, the aesthetics of the entirety of the park will be improved, and no doubt the maintenance approaches and so on, as we are slated to hand over some equipment and stuff. And last but not least, the promotion of ecotourism or heritage tourism as it is now. So this ends my portion of the presentation. I'm going to turn over to my colleague for the social safeguards. After the presentation.
Good morning. Ensures that all these expectations, all stakeholders who are involved in the project, sees the improvement and receive the results they are expected. So social safeguards is really defined as measures put in place to protect the people and communities from negative impacts of the project. So it ensures that people's rights, their livelihoods, their health and well-being are not harmed. And it's not just a JCF thing, it's not just a contractor responsibility, but all stakeholders are involved. It's a joint responsibility shared by everyone, right? And it captures a range of considerations or issues. The main two types are labor, sexual harassment, exploitation, and abuse. As it relates to the labor considerations, it focuses on the who and the how. So we have our national laws that protect our children, right? So no child under the age of 15 are allowed to work, right? And it also provides protection against forced labor. Forced labor when you are put to work against your will, right? It looks at how employees are treated. So the contractors, employees, or personnel, how they are treated, and it ensures that there are fairness and certain things are put in place to protect the employees, right? So it looks at fair treatment. It looks at their work agreements in place, and it should be clear, and terms and conditions of the employment, such as their wages, their working hours, and the benefits that they are entitled to should be outlined in the work agreement. It looks on safety in the work environment. So it ensures that persons are provided with the necessary tools, looking at their personal protective equipments. First aid kits should be present, right? It looks at the grievance redress mechanism. So there must be an avenue in place so that employees can make their concerns heard. If there are any issues, employees have an avenue to report them and to have them addressed. It also looks at emergency protocols. Those things should in place. So for example, if there is a fire, what are the protocols for evacuation, right? Are there assembly points for employees to go to? And what should happen in terms of any emergency? As it relates to employment, in terms of the work site, there must be an employment coordinator. So an employment coordinator would be selected by the community, and this person is responsible for identifying persons with different skill sets who are interested in working on the project sites. So the employment coordinator would create what we call a skill bank or a pool listing the name of these persons, what their skill sets are, and what their interest is. And it's from this pool that the contractor would select persons to work on the project sites. Just to note that employees must have an identification to collect wages. So in order to get your pay, your ID must be present, right? And we know the acceptable forms of ID, your national ID, your driver's license, or your passport. Payment may be done via check, bank transfers, or cash. As it relates to sexual harassment, we know that sexual harassment is an offense, right? And it's punishable by law. So sexual harassment is in relation to any unwelcome, unwanted, physical, verbal, or non-verbal sexual conduct which is offensive or humiliating to the recipient. And so sexual harassment behavior is strictly prohibited, right? And there are two types. One, it looks at what we call this or that. So it's really providing sexual favors in exchange of something favorable. So for example, providing sexual favors to get a job or to get increased pay, right? It also looks at toxic work environment. And when we mention toxic work environment, we're talking about person's actions or their attitude that may create unpleasant working environment. So we spoke about the verbal communication. You know, persons may use certain slangs, talk about your body, unwanted touching, those are prohibited. So just moving on in relation to the various responsibilities. As I mentioned earlier, all stakeholders have a responsibility to play as it relates to our construction company, which is our contractor SMN Quality Construction Limited. Their responsibilities include to create an awareness among personnel on the applicable aspects of the contract, to ensure relevant communication is maintained, to collaborate with various stakeholders, and to develop practical solutions in the event there are issues to be addressed, to use best endeavors to prevent any unlawful or disorderly conduct among personnel. As it relates to our implementing partner, the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining Public Gardens Division, their responsibility includes to submit questions and concerns through JSIF's grievance redress mechanism, to collaborate with various stakeholders to develop practical solutions, and also to appoint a labor liaison officer. And the labor liaison officer is someone who would be the point person to communicate with. If there's an issue needs to be addressed, then the communications goes through the labor liaison officer. And this is issues in relation to the project site. For JSIF, our responsibility includes respond to any grievances submitted through our grievance redress mechanism, to collaborate with our stakeholders to develop practical solutions to address these issues, to enforce the penalties outlined in the contract, which in some cases may call for contract termination. And in relation to our grievance redress mechanism, these are the avenues exist for persons to make complaints, or if there is any concern or any recommendations to be made, persons can reach out to JSIF via these contacts. So you can contact our Senior Social Officer directly, Mrs. Tashika Dawson, and the number is on screen. We also have our other project team members, our tourism specialists, Ms. Larissa McBean, our project engineer, Mr. Ajane Binns, as well, can be reached. You may contact the office and ask to speak with any of those persons. And JSIF can also be reached by our social media platforms, and we are located at the address on screen, 8 Richmond Avenue, Kingston 10. All right, so I'll segue into monitoring and evaluation aspect of the project. So when we speak about monitoring and evaluation, it sounds technical, right? But we do it in our everyday life, right? For example, if you're cooking, you monitor, right? You ensure that you check to see what is happening, that the food don't get burned, the food is cooking, right? So just our daily activities involve monitoring and evaluation. But as it relates to the project, we want to ensure that we make a deliberate effort to integrate monitoring and evaluation into the project, because we want to ensure that we track performance to see how the project is going, and it also helps us to flag any risks, any challenges early so that we can implement corrective actions to address those. Also, there are different objectives, and my colleague Ms. McMill would have mentioned some of those objectives and outcomes expected. And so in order to determine whether or not we are meeting these objectives and reaching our results or our outcomes, we need to ensure that we conduct monitoring and evaluation. Right, so quickly, just to give a brief definition, monitoring is really the continuous tracking of activities and the progress, right? While evaluation is periodic assessment of results to determine effectiveness and how beneficial the project is to our various stakeholders. Why M&E matters? It ensures implementation is on schedule and within scope. So we know for project environment, there are various timelines that we are required to adhere to. And so to monitor what is happening, the activities on the ground, to ensure that we keep within that time frame, right? It also allows us to track progress, as I mentioned, towards our objectives. And for our project, there are various targets that we are required to meet, and in order to determine whether we are achieving those targets, we have to monitor. Right? It helps us to understand what works on the project, what does not work, and why, so we can implement corrective measures, right? And it supports learning. What we monitor. Right? So some of our key indicators are some of the areas or aspects that we are required to monitor, includes in terms of the number of operating public infrastructure that we support. We also need to monitor how many persons are trained. And it was mentioned earlier that we are big on in terms of social inclusion and gender responsiveness. And so we want to ensure that our vulnerable groups, or women or youth, persons with disabilities, are also integrated into our project and they are benefiting from the project. Right, looking in terms of Ready2 is an economic development project, and so we want to ensure that market access is being achieved. We want to look at in terms of visitor attraction to our Bath botanical sites. We're looking at how beneficial is this project to the community at large. Is it creating jobs? Is it sustaining jobs? Looking at how is it contributing to tourism-related incomes. And also to mention climate resilience, which is very important, right? We are so prone to these various natural disasters, and we have seen them occurring so often. There are other what we call cross-cutting indicators. We're looking at grievance redress and client feedback. We want to ensure that any concerns, any complaints that our stakeholders have, whether it's from the community or implementing partners, those are addressed and persons are satisfied with the project. As I mentioned earlier, every partner plays a role, right? In monitoring evaluation. It's not the M&E specialist thing, it's not a one-person thing, it's everybody's business. And so in terms of us as the project team, we would do the coordination, we carry out our monitoring and evaluation of the activities being implemented, and we do our reporting. Our implementing partners from the ministry are also key in terms of undertaking M&E activities, monitoring progress, and also doing their reporting, right? Our tourism operators, our key stakeholders, and the communities, we want to ensure that their feedback is heard and any disagreements, any issues will be addressed, right? Record keeping is also very important. So in order for us to know that we are reaching our results, we need to document these things. So while we may do a site visits and carry out our monitoring activities, it's important for us to document these to provide evidence-based results, right? All of this is a shared responsibility. So as I wrap up, I just want to quickly outline in terms of the key takeaways. M&E helps the project to be on track. It supports transparency, so everybody, the community, and all the stakeholders for this project should be in the know, understand what is happening with the project and how beneficial is the project to them. It enables timely corrective action, and it ensures tourism investments achieve the intended results. And finally, just to outline in terms what we call a results chain, this is just showing the link between all the activities across the project. So we're looking at the inputs relates to the financing and how that translates into the activities that will be carried out, whether the infrastructure works or training. And as a result of these activities, we are expected of certain outputs in terms of the upgraded facilities and persons being trained. These outputs now leads to a short or mid-term results, which what we call our outcomes in terms of job creation, improve market access, right, in tourism. And looking at the bigger picture, which is the impact, how does this project ensure sustainable, inclusive tourism growth? Thank you. And I now hand over to my next colleague, Mr. Burton.
Thanks again, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Adam Burton, Environmental Officer at the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. So I'll be taking you through the environmental aspect of this presentation. Right? So at the Jamaica Social Investment, ISO 14001 2015 certified. So this is an internationally recognized certification that sets a framework. It helps us to, it gives us a framework that we can use to establish our own environmental management systems. Now, at JSF we do a lot of different projects. So we do construction projects, we do rehabilitation projects, and doing those projects, they come with certain level of impacts, and our donors or funders, they require us to manage our environmental performance when implementing these works projects. And importantly, consultants and contractors will need to adhere to the standard of this certification because they reflect JSF. Okay, thank you. No, so let's jump into it. So having this certification in place, it comes with quite a few benefits. All right. So what it does, it helps us to maintain a safe working environment. So it outlines procedures that we can use to maintain a safe work environment. It helps us to protect community health and safety. So it gives us the guidelines that we can use to do that. It helps with environmental sustainability. It helps us to comply with our funders' safeguards. It helps us to also comply with national laws and overall help us to develop a culture of environmental health and safety in Jamaica, especially in regards to projects, construction projects, and works projects. Now, when it comes down to the environmental responsibility. Each stakeholders or each party involved in the project have their own roles and responsibility in regards to environmental health and safety. So from JSF ends, we are responsible to contract the most qualified contractors so that we can get the best project possible. All right. We also have the responsibility of providing funding for environmental health and safety. So in the project's contract, we will include a sum that will cover environmental health and safety. So that sum will include covers like personal protective equipment, so it cover hard hat, vests, hoarding for the site, signage, and so forth and so on. Right? JSF will conduct their independent monitoring and evaluation. So our technical officers will typically visit each project site preferably twice per month to carry out their normal monitoring visit. So this is range from technical assessment to social assessment to environmental assessment, and we do this on a monthly basis for every project site and prepare the reports accordingly. And of course, it is JSF's responsibility to take corrective action for environmental breaches. Alright? And of course, develop and implement environmental health and safety policies. In regard to the contractor, it is their responsibility to work safely. And of course, the workers, it is their responsibility to work safely. And it is also the responsibility of the workers to ensure that at all times they wear all the applicable personal protective equipment. So no worker working on the project here at Bath Botanical Garden should be working without wearing the applicable personal protective equipment. And at minimum, we require them to have a safety vest, a cover toe shoes, and of course a hard hat where necessary. Alright, it is also the responsibility of the workers to ensure that they maintain a tidy work environment, especially within this space, which is a very important space, a very sensitive space. It is their responsibility to ensure that they work and keep the place tidy at all times. It is also the responsibility of the workers to ensure that they report unsafe conditions. So if they see a location on the site that poses possible threat to persons on site, it is their responsibility to ensure that they report it to the appropriate personnel so that the necessary corrective actions can be implemented accordingly. Now, when the contractors end, it is the contractor's responsibility to ensure that they comply with all the applicable environmental health and safety laws. It is also the responsibility of the contractor to provide the personal protective equipment that we would have included the sum in the contract to purchase. So we would include the sum for the personal protective equipment, but it's the responsibility of the contractor to ensure that they purchase these equipment and they issue them accordingly to the workers on site. And of course, it is also the responsibility of the contractor to ensure that they implement environmental health and safety mitigation. So, if, for example, if it is a case where the site is being accessed by unauthorized personnel, it is the contractor's responsibility to ensure that they put in place proper hoarding, which will prevent unauthorized access to the project site. This can be kids who can come on the site unauthorized. Nobody is aware that they're on the site and they got hurt. So to prevent this, the contractor is to ensure that unauthorized access is being prevented at all times. And of course, the contractor should maintain a safe environment for not just the project site, but the community as a whole. Right? For the consultant, they should ensure that they enforce environmental health and safety standards. It is their responsibility to also ensure that environmental health and safety mitigation measures are implemented it is also the responsibility of the consultant to monitor the project sites for potential hazards. So typically the consultant would have a clerk of works on the side who will manage things from an environmental standpoint on a daily basis. And of course, the consultant is responsible to ensure that they report environmental health and safety issues. Now, this is a works project, so it is expected that some level of construction will be taking place on the grounds here. From that, it is expected that we can expect some potential impact. Now, under the environmental management systems, we call the potential impact, we call them aspects. There's a lot of aspects that can come out of a project. However, we're going to focus on the significant aspects today. So we're going to focus on the potential impact, the most likely potential impact from the implementation of this project, all right? So implementing a works project, you can expect that there will be occupational health and safety concerns, all right? And some of these occupational health and safety concerns range from disability or death, temporary or permanent injury, loss of limb, sight or hearing, burns, laceration, puncture wounds, contagious disease, acute chronic illnesses, and loss of livelihood. Now, to mitigate these potential impact, what we encourage persons to do is to always wear the appropriate personal protective equipment. So, to protect your eyes, if you're working and there's a lot of dust, then you expect that, okay, you're going to be wearing your dust mask and possibly goggles to protect your eye and of course, your respiratory system. You know, you will wear a safety vest to ensure that, you know, you're visible while on site. And of course, your feet should always be covered. You don't have to necessarily wear a steel-toe shoes, but at minimum, your feet needs to be fully covered. All right. We ask that barricades be installed around hazardous location, and of course erect sufficient and appropriate signage on site, and provide, of course, potable water to persons on site working, especially on days when it's really hot. All right. So we want to ensure that workers on site have access to potable water at all times. And you know, a well-equipped bathroom should also be provided on site so that, you know, persons working on site can carry out the normal bodily function. Another significant aspect or another significant potential impact is dust, which is highly likely because this is a works project, so we can expect that some level of excavation will be taking place. You know, we might have soil store and location for some time. So some of the impacts that is associated with dust or particulate matter is respiratory illnesses, eye infection, death, reduced visibility to vehicular traffic, and of course defacing of building. And I know that persons living within this space can attest to that during the construction of the main road. You know, we see some of the impacts of dust pollution. So to mitigate this, what we encourage is that we cover spoil or aggregates on site. Once it is not being used, we always keep it covered. All right. We cover waste during transportation. Also, we can't expect to be transporting excavated spoils in an open truck. We need to have that covered. Of course, we encourage wetting of the site, preferably at a 3-hour interval or as often as needed. And of course, wearing the appropriate personal protective equipment. So for dust, you want to ensure that you have your dust mask and of course a goggle that protects your eyes. Another potential impact as a result of the implementation of this project is noise pollution, and some of the risks that is associated with noise pollution would have been temporary hearing loss, permanent hearing loss, high blood pressure, frequent headaches, sleeplessness, or insomnia. Now, to prevent or to mitigate these potential impacts, we ask that works be kept within the hours of 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. If we're going beyond that, we ask that persons from the community is consulted and made aware that we might be going beyond our normal work period. So, please bear with us while we do that. We always try to encourage contractors to ensure that the machinery is being used on site is always well equipped, so that we limit the amount of pollution, especially with the rate of climate change. Having a machine that needs to be serviced on site, we can attest to the fact that it will release a lot of CO2 emission, and that is one of the drivers of climate change. All right. Another significant potential impact is solid waste management. So, implementing a project, we can expect that there will be some level of solid waste, and it will need to be managed for various reasons. Right. So, some of the risk that is associated with improper management of solid waste is flooding, because if the waste gets into the drain, block the drainage, then the water has nowhere to go. If the water doesn't have nowhere to go, then we can expect that some level of flooding will occur. All right. Vermin infestation, which includes rat, flies, outbreak of disease, unpleasant